I love being surrounded with great people, and our personalities are different, right? So where one is strong, others are weak, or vice versa. And so we have a great culture. And again, I think the business is very culture driven and kind of core values based. Those core values always stem from the founder. They always do.
This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Right About Now. We like to say we're always getting right. We're always talking about what's now. I don't know if there's much more now than the business of coaching and fitness and everything that's been happening with the online space. That's why I'm pumped, literally, to have Matt Reynolds on. He's the founder and CEO of Barbell Logic. What's up, Matt?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey.
Did you come straight from the gym? You've got one in the building.
Yeah. So. Well, I did gym home then here.
Okay,
but,
perfect.
You know,
exactly.
We I felt like
gyms.
If I'm going to have the founder and CEO of Barbell Logic, I needed to get, pumped up on some level.
That's right. I see it.
Beyond my energy drinks.
That's good. I had an energy drink on the way here. So no, thanks for having me. It's a big honor. I'm excited to come and talk.
I am excited. And hey man, you're breaking in the new studio, dude.
You told me that. You said we're breaking the seal. I didn't. So I'm excited for that. So I don't know. Does that mean we're going to pee in the corner after a while? Or is that what that means?
You don't have to leave your mark.
We don't have to literally break the seal. So
exactly.
No, it's great. The studio setup's great. Looks good in here.
Yeah, man. Flew in and, got a lot of business going on, a lot of exciting things. Yeah. And I know we're going to get into it. You got a book coming out. We're going to talk about all that, but we'll set the table with who is Matt Reynolds, and then let's get into some meaty stuff with what's happening in kind of in your space.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So man, I love sports. I'm a super competitive guy. I was, not a very good athlete. I was a painfully average athlete, I would say, in high school. Played everything, loved it, and competitive to a fault. And when I got into college, I wasn't good enough to play college sports. And so I needed that outlet. And I discovered the sport of powerlifting, which is just where you squat, bench, and deadlift, and eat a lot of pizza and drink beer and put on a bunch of weight. And I thought, this sounds great. Let's do this. Let's get strong.
Sign me up.
And so yeah, late 90s, early 2000s did that and did well, ended up totaling elite in 4 different weight classes in powerlifting, which is kind of the top level in powerlifting. In 2005, transitioned to strongman and won my pro card in strongman in 2006. And competed on the World's Strongest Man circuit from 06 to 10. Was never good enough to be in the World's Strongest Man. You got to be kind of top 3. 12th was the highest I ever got. In 2008, I opened my first business. It was called Strong Gym, and it was a kind of a black iron barbell based gym, but in a really nice setting, excellent customer service. We tried to take the best of both worlds of what we saw in boutique gyms, which had great customer service, but the training was usually terrible. And hardcore powerlifting gyms are what was just starting as CrossFit gyms, which maybe the training was great, but they were often in like these dank, dirty, industrial buildings.
Hey, what is it about that? They're always in the worst locations.
Well, because they need a bunch of square footage, and square footage is expensive, right? And so we started small, and then we grew and we grew and we grew. And so we moved 4 or 5 times. We eventually ended up in a 15,000 square foot building downtown in the gentrified area of Springfield, Missouri, where I'm from in the Ozarks. And I at the time I had gone to school to be a teacher. I was a teacher and had finished my master's to be a high school principal. By the time I finished that, I realized I probably wasn't going to stay in the public school system. And the gym had blown up. And so in 2012, I left teaching and ran the gym full time, sold it at the end of 2015 and transitioned into the online coaching sphere. And there were a couple reasons for that, and we can talk about this. One, I really kind of got pushed out of my own gym by one of my partners, which was tough. And I've had several times in my life that were difficult. But I look back now and say, like, this is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, and because we would never have been able to build what we built here. But the other thing I saw in the in-person kind of antiquated personal training world was that it was very inflexible for both the client and the coach. I had developed a name for myself as a coach, and obviously had some street cred as a professional strongman and that kind of stuff. But it's prohibitively expensive. Number one, in-person training. You're locked into a schedule. You're locked into a location. The coach, maybe you're charging $50 an hour or $100 an hour. But when you really do the math about the commute, and putting on the purple polo with the name tag that says trainer and the hours at the gym where there isn't a client. And then you do the math, you're like, I'm making $17 an hour or whatever. And so I thought there has to be a better way. And on top of that, I'm in Springfield, Missouri. How big is my client pool? And for the clients, how big is their coach pool? Expert coaches are hard to find. And so I thought, surely there is a way to combine the kind of issues or the challenges with in-person coaching and take that into the online sphere. Online coaching at the time was sell me a program for $50. And I would argue that's not coaching, that's programming. And with the oncoming slot of AI, that market is about to be commoditized and killed if all you do is sell programs, because AI can already do that as well as we can do that. And so if you don't invest in the relationships, so for us from the very beginning, I started doing online coaching. My focus was I wanted to actually coach. So my clients would video all their lifts every single day. They would upload them to, at the time in the olden days, to YouTube. I would break those down via typed feedback and send them back within 24 hours. Over that time, since 2016, we've now grown to a deep in the 8-figure business, 100 employees, and have our own app, our own software, integrated screen recorder, all that kind of stuff. And so really we've been able to just transition. We were talking a little bit about really kind of redesigning the category of online coaching. We're trying to reset people's mind on what online coaching is. It's not hiring an Instagram influencer who likes to take pictures of their butt or their abs and post it on Instagram and sell you a $50 template, because the types of people that can pay for this, one, they usually don't work. And two, even if you have, say, personal training or high level or it's expensive, when you just get a program, that type of person travels for business, they travel on vacation. When they leave, if you're an in-person coach, you don't get paid. If they travel or they go on vacation, they don't train. With really high quality professional online coaching, you get all of the best of the in-person high touch, white glove service, but you get it from anywhere in the world, anytime on your own schedule with the equipment you have, whether that's your home gym, which we love, big box gyms, hotel gyms, resort gyms, you can do it. And even body weight stuff we do. And so that was really the transition for us. And so I've gone from athlete to coach to business owner, now 2 business owners, to really CEO, and I have a full C-suite and a board of directors and all that kind of stuff. And so that's really I still love to train. I still love to coach, but man, I love being a CEO. And I do. It's a blast.
Sweet. I'm loaded here with questions. Let's stick, because we were just there, the coaching and the aspect of the online. Is it live?
It's not live.
So it's not live.
Yeah, great question. Okay. So it's asynchronous. And I think this is actually a major issue too, that you see with some of the major companies that are out there that, sell bikes or, a big screen on a TV or something. And they connect you to a coach who's doing this live. Well, I'm in Missouri. I don't want to coach somebody in Singapore live. That's in the middle of the night. And the other problem is it doesn't get out of that locking you into a schedule if it's live. Like, you've got to connect with your coach at the same time. So asynchronously, you get your personalized programming. So the first thing you do is when you sign up for coaching, you fill out a pretty intense questionnaire about you and your goals and your injuries and all that sort of equipment you've got. And then we spend an inordinate amount of time making sure you're connected with the right coach for you, somebody that you want to go have a beer with or a coffee with, or you be friends with, even if they weren't your coach. That person then does an intro Zoom call with you, that expert coach, and you guys may be on the opposite side of the world. And then you'll start to receive personalized programming from them on your app. We call it Turnkey Coach. So directly on the app, you perform the workouts, you video yourself lifting, you upload those videos super fast. And then within 24 hours, we have an integrated screen recorder where your coach will fully break down your technique. So you'll watch yourself squat or deadlift or whatever. You'll hear your coach's voiceover and often see them picture in picture. And so that asynchronous piece, again, it's all about freedom. So it's freedom for the client. It costs about, if it were live, it would cost the same thing as in-person coaching. So the cost for the client is like a third of what personal training costs. But a coach can break down probably 20 to 25 clients per hour as opposed to one client per hour. So the dollar per hour for the coach is $200, $300, $400 plus dollars per hour, which is unheard of in the personal training industry. And so it's really giving both the client and the coach freedom from both ends of the spectrum.
So is it the ideal customer, you've got, Barbell Logic, your mind gets in this strength place.
Sure.
I mean, are your clientele lifters mainly? I mean, is it?
Probably not the way your audience would be thinking about. They're not 25-year-old guys.
Yeah.
Our average, so we're about 60% male, 40% female. Our average age is 45 to 47. So they're middle age. We've got clients in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Barbell Logic, which is our B2C company, where we specifically our coaches who work for us interact with our clients. That skews a little older, a little higher socioeconomic status, which is again, they don't get tired of strength training or doing, and while it definitely is a strength training first sort of business, we do conditioning and nutrition and all the things. But they don't get tired after 2 years and go do CrossFit or hot yoga or what. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. It's just that I don't want to churn. And so our churn is insane. I mean, our churn this last quarter was 1.4%. That's no contracts. I mean, so
wow.
So that B2C company really became what is now, we look at the alpha tester for the B2B company. When COVID hit, shut every gym down, we started to see look, there's all these great coaches out there. They don't have any opportunity to interact with their clients. We should take the software that we've developed, white label it, and be able to license that out to the B2B. So that same question that you just asked me, for us, it's that middle-aged male business executive, soccer mom, that's our average client at Barbell Logic. But our coaches that utilize Turnkey Coach, I mean, they've got high school athletes, they've got, and we have coaches that focus on, females that do postpartum moms. I've got a surgeon that all he does is coach people over 50, usually who have artificial hips or knees. I mean, we've got the perfect coach for you. And if Barbell Logic doesn't have that, there's a Turnkey Coach that does. And so that's how we've kind of transitioned from B2C to B2B. And so we kind of look at that B2C now as the alpha tester for the B2B product.
It's got to be a fairly serious person that's into it, because I don't know about you, when I go to the gym and I see people with personal trainers live, you might as well call them personal counselors.
That's right.
Because I'm like, I've been here for 45 minutes. I've gotten a major intense workout in. I think they've moved off 2 stations.
That's right.
And I'm not even judging. It's just more an observation. I'm like, I think this is a counselor.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you end up playing kind of a part psychiatrist, obviously, totally unlicensed, but I mean, but you see these people 3-4 hours a week. And so sure enough, they open up and start telling stories. And honestly, it's the worst part of the job. And so now here's the thing, because what we've done in the online sphere is we focus on absolutely personalized programming, technique breakdown, but we also spend a lot of time trying to build a relationship with the client. But because of the asynchronous piece of this, that's on our time. So if I were coaching you, I would send you your personalized programming. I would coach you on your technique. And then I generally know what's going on in your life. I'll ask you a couple questions about how's life going. And then you'll respond back to me the next day when you do your workout. But we don't end up with a 40-minute conversation where I'm like, oh my gosh, we literally just talked about what's going on at the business for 40 minutes. And that he didn't even get a workout in.
Is there any one-to-one like true calls or anything like that happens live?
Yes.
I get the sessions aren't live.
Yep. So the intro call always is.
Okay.
All of our nutrition coaches do at least a monthly call with our clients live, because it's nutrition. If you think you need a lot of psychology for lifting, nutrition's a whole nother deal. And so, we do those calls.
As I lift a chip to my face.
That's right. So we do that for sure. And we think that's valuable. And then, we don't force the coaches to do that. A lot of times the coaches want to do that and have a quick call. Maybe it's a 20-minute Zoom call or even just an audio call with their clients, just to connect and, again, continue to kind of build that relationship and trust. And so, again, we've been able to take 9 years of business and really distill it down and kind of see what the clients are looking for. And when we do that, what we've been able to do with the software is we started to be able to trim the fat and say, what are the things, those extra button clicks, the extra hand movements, all of that stuff that the client's paying for interaction with their coach. And so for us, the technology, Turnkey Coach, really is a thing that should fade into the background to just be the bridge between the client and the coach to help facilitate that relationship. And so I was thinking about this the other day. I was on a business, 7 out of the last 9 weeks, I've been on business trips. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Columbus. I was eating at this restaurant, this really nice restaurant with my executive assistant. It was the best service I've ever had in my life. Now, here's the thing. You don't go to restaurants for the wait staff. You go to restaurants for the food and for the atmosphere and for the people that you're going with and the conversation. But if the wait staff does their job right, they have a tremendous impact on the meal. Right?
100%.
And the best wait staff are very unobtrusive. They explain, especially if it's kind of a fancy place, they explain the dish, but quickly and let you know what you're going to eat. And they would do things like you get up and go to the bathroom, you come back and your napkin would be replaced and fully folded up and on a new, or you would look and go, how did my water get filled? I don't even know how it got filled. That's what we're trying to do with the technology is so that it's so frictionless. The UI is so clean and the user experience is so good that the technology fades into the background, just becomes the bridge to help the client develop a relationship with the coach and vice versa, which is really what both are there to do. And so that's why we call it Turnkey Coach. We handle all this stuff in the background. That's the B2B business. If you could share, like the revenue split versus, the B2B side versus B2C? Yeah, so we're really close at this point. So B2C, we're about a third at this point. B2B, we're about a third, and then we started landing government contracts last year, and we're about a third government contracts as well, which is probably more on the B2B, but it's...
I was about to say, is it for your coaches working with government
It's
people?
actually both. So, interestingly enough, so we have a third product that we call the Barbell Academy. So one of the things, if we need expert coaches to coach more people, we've got to be able to make expert coaches. And so we've got a very intense and excellent academy. It's not a major moneymaker for us. It does several $100,000 a year, which is fine. But what it really does is it avoids the bottleneck of expert coaches. I don't want to run out of supply and have all this demand and have to turn money away, right? And so we've got that. When we go to the government, we use all three. So we take the officers and we train the officers at Barbell Logic Online Coaching. We train the trainers on the academy, and then we license out TKC, the software, to the government. So we actually utilize all three of those typically in a government contract.
Nice.
It's pretty
smart.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So we're pretty well, revenue streams are pretty well, one third, all under the same company. And really it's all the same business. It's just three different revenue streams.
Is it all trained? Like, is the software's very specific? Because there's coaches in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Is it, have you thought about it? Or is it all,
it's on the roadmap for sure. So I think the first place we'll go is
outside of fitness
is physical therapy.
Yeah.
And so we have a ton of physical therapists. We have physical therapists on staff as coaches who this would be perfect for. And so obviously this doesn't work for chiropractors because a chiropractor's got to put their hands on your back and like that doesn't work. But for anybody, we've got tactical instructors that want to use it, things like that. Like anybody that could do coaching via, say, a Zoom call or walk through, or again, think about concierge medicine, things like that. This would work for. What we want to do and what we've focused on is really crushing product market fit in the fitness industry first, getting it all right, making sure we clean up all those little bumps and making sure it really truly is frictionless, and then because it's white labeled, it could be white labeled to physical therapy or anything, business coaching, marketing coaching, any of that.
Yeah. It's interesting. And talk with Matt Reynolds, founder and CEO of Barbell Logic. Matt, I don't know what you said. You love being a CEO.
I do.
We have a lot of people that are budding founders.
Yeah.
What's it like transitioning from
meathead
doing it to managing it?
From meathead to white collar.
Yeah.
At some point. And I mean, it's been, I think I've heard you say the same thing. It's not an overnight thing. I mean, I've owned business for 17 years and, it's just a process. And I think for me, I'm just wired to have an insatiable pursuit of knowledge, which I don't think guarantees. I mean, I think there are people out there that are really, really smart, but haven't figured out how to apply that in the trenches. And so for me, I'm just constantly learning, and I'm trying to take that learning and that knowledge and turn it into wisdom and figure out how to distill that down to wisdom, and then take that wisdom and actually apply it in the trenches. And so for me, I'm laser focused on whatever I'm doing. When I was competing in strongman, that was what I was doing. It was strongman. I mean, I would even say in my younger days, to the detriment of my family. I've been married. I'm actually going to be married 24 years here in just another couple of weeks. Married my high school sweetheart. Got two wonderful daughters, 19 and 13. And so I think I've been so laser focused at times. And I think a lot of guys, I'm going to paint with a broad brush, but I found very few men who are able to balance this well. They either tend to skew on the lazy side or they skew towards the workaholic side. Well, I'm definitely the latter. And so then when I started to run the gym, I was all in on the gym. I don't know how to have this idea of let's just have a mom and pop gym that's just generally profitable, makes me $100,000 a year or whatever. I'm just like, let's grow it to the biggest gym in the whole world. And then it grew, then it grew to the biggest barbell gym in the world. And then let's sell it in 2015 and let's go. And then online was the same thing. And so we went through a major expansion of the online business. It took me about a year to figure out the systems and standard operating procedures in the online sphere in 2016, all through 2016. In December of 16, I hired 35 coaches and didn't have clients to give them.
Wow.
And so it scared me to death. And but we had built this big kind of grand opening launch, even though I had run this as a one-man show for the first year. And we did $47,000 in the first day. It opened up, and I can remember I had Stripe on my phone, and it just starts going ding, 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 ding. And dude, I started crying like a baby because I'd left education. I had my master's to be a president. I mean, I left all this for this world. Of course, my parents weren't happy about it. They're like, just, do the safe job. Parents are boomers. That's what they'd say. And all of a sudden, my parents love what I do. Right?
Yeah.
And so it has
kind
been.
Of this podcast, my wife hated it.
Yeah, right.
Until she didn't.
That's right. Yeah. Right up until it bought her car. And then you're like, yeah, it's not that bad, is it? So, yeah, I mean, it's been really fun. So I think what you do in the beginning when you're a one-man show, you're a one-man show. And then I was the owner and the CEO and the COO and the CXO and the CI. You do everything. You do every job, except I also have these coaches. So I've hired out some technicians. And as time goes on, you start to hire more and more really wonderful employees who do a much better job at their job than you could ever. And in the beginning, they don't, right? They do it at 80%. And you've got to be okay with that, not be a micromanager and have good systems in place and hand them that system and say, this is your system now. You own it. You're going to find inefficiencies in this system that I wrote because I'm not as good at this job as you will be. You might not be as good as me today, but your potential is far better than me. So my COO, he comes from lean manufacturing. I mean, and this is a fitness company, right? My CXO, she is incredible with people. My CMO is, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, that's your world, right? And like, how complicated that is. So they are so much better at their job than I am. And so I love being surrounded with great people, and our personalities are different, right? So where one is strong, others are weak, or vice versa. And so we have a great culture. And again, I think the business is very culture driven. And so we and kind of core values based. Those core values always stem from the founder. They always do. And those core values they flow down and they build out what our kind of core tenets are for the company and our primary goals every year and the actions to support those goals and the milestones or metrics, or what most people call KPIs, but I hate corporate speech. And so we do that. So we have goals, actions, metrics, and the execution of that, which we call the game plan, which is a little bit cheesy, but it's a lot better than OKRs and KPIs, and it's like, we're not going to talk that way.
Yeah.
And we're still a fitness company. And so I've really enjoyed becoming a CEO and being able to do that. And I really get to act as a true CEO at this point. I get to have, my C-suite report up to me. They've got great teams underneath them. We meet on a kind of rotating schedule throughout the month, and we're not stuck doing meetings all days and TPS reports and all the crap that you see from Office Space.
That's so true. Once you get into it.
If you've done corporate America, you know what that is. And so we've been able to avoid that. And then the other part of it is, man, my whole business is online. We don't have an HQ. I don't have anybody in mind. Like, we're everywhere, but we've always been everywhere. So whatever everyone was dealing with in 2020, we had started doing in early 2016. So we had a 4-year head start on everybody. It really built a moat for us. And on top of that, because we focused on the relationship and not just the programming, it kind of gave us a double moat. And so we own the category. I mean, we designed the category of professional online coach. Online coaching is not professional. It's Instagram models. It's bro science. It's, it's that. And it's like, and there are, you'll see in-person coaches or in-person trainers that are very professional. And then something happens online and the world standard is not there yet. And so for us, it's about raising that standard of what you should expect as a client and as a coach in the professional online coaching world. And so we don't tell you how to teach a squat. We teach our clients how to squat, but if you're a coach for us, we don't tell you how to program or any of those things, but we say, hey, we got a system that you want to make $400 an hour. And this is not like a Mary Kay pyramid scheme. I mean, it's not like only this is the middle of the bell curve is making $200-300 an hour. Like that's the deal. And they're like, yeah. All right. So So we get any coach we want, which is great.
I want to come back to the Instagram coach debacle, but sticking with the business model a little bit. Client, and let's talk B2C for a second.
Sure.
Because I'm kind of fascinated. Like, it really interests me because, like I said to you, like I see a lot of people that want this in-person trainer because they just really want a counselor.
Right.
And your model's built differently. What's the client acquisition like process for you guys? You know, like how do you keep your, you're on, platform, your company trainers busy, and how do you help maybe other people that buy the platform?
Sure.
Do you coach them on client acquisition?
Yeah, great question. So the two answers to that question at the B2C level for us, we're a service business that makes an insane amount of high quality content. And the content is always free. So we have one of the top podcasts in strength and have since 2017 and put them out every week. And again, this is a consistency game. I mean, we churn them out all the time and they're good. They're excellent. Our YouTube videos, you can search how to anything in the gym and our videos are going to pop up at the top. And so we've got our long form videos are like 7 or 8 minutes long, teaching you how to squat or deadlift. But we also have what we call gym shorts. As you see, I like shorts for dudes.
If you're not watching the video, I'm going to do a plug for the YouTube channel.
That's
that Matt's got on the shortest pair of shorts I've seen in a while, and
they're nice khakis.
Yeah, they're nice. They're
khakis. Not Sophies or what is that? What they're called? Silkies or whatever.
Know.
They're not like
staring at your short shorts.
Yeah. They're I'm big fan of khaki shorts. No, we have a series called Gym Shorts, and it's how-to videos, and they're all under 60 seconds. So they're all shorts, and so that. For us, and also, my editor-in-chief man's an attorney. Like, he's incredible. He's the best copy editor I've ever. He's helping me write the manuscript for the Forbes book. I mean, so we've got
good lawyers can have a way with words.
He is a wordsmith, and he's worked with me and for me for 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
So he knows me, knows my voice. He knows he's not ghostwriting the book. I'm just a better speaker than I am a writer, and so we work through the outline together. I record the stories and the personal anecdotes and most of the manuscript, and then he cleans it up and makes it look beautiful and send it back, and then we edit back and forth. So we have great written content, free ebooks, tons of videos, tons of podcasts, all that kind of stuff. That's all free, and that's how we get people on top of the funnel. And we just did several TV shows, so TV shows for national level TV shows, big ones that people will see. And so just did those. And so for us, it's really about if we can get people into the top of the funnel, then we can drive them down the funnel and convert pretty well. And a lot of that is a testament to my CMO, who was my CIO. So CMO, CIO, using a great CRM and driving people down the funnel. We do a great job. And it's because that content has established us as experts in the marketplace. And so some percentage of those clients, some percentage of those consumers of the content become paying clients for us. So that's really what customer acquisition cost looks like. It's really about content production for us. And then of course, we occasionally do paid ads and play around with that some for sure. We're not experts in that field. But I think for us, it's about putting out excellent content for free.
Yeah. Is all under Barbell Logic, like the brand name as far as content?
Barbell Logic for sure. I mean, certainly we have a lot of internal content we put out for Turnkey Coach. So for our Turnkey Coach licensees, we train them up. So that's kind of second part of that answer is that we teach them how to run this system of online coaching. We teach them how to coach. We run them through the academy. We teach them, make sure they know really what they're doing and to do it well and to be efficient and be effective and all of those things that you need to be a great coach and what you would want out of a great coach. Like you're a busy guy. If you've got a job to do, you want to get it done in the most efficient way. So simple, hard, effective, man. That's the deal. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need it's economy over excess, like all that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that we're teaching. So we don't just teach the licensees in the B2B industry the kind of how to coach. We also teach them how to business, while at the same time offering a software that's called Turnkey Coach. So the idea is, by the way, we do want you to know how to do this, but we do all the back end work. We do all the customer service. If a credit card bounces, we're going to deal with that. Like you get to do what you do best, which is coach. And the client gets to interact with you. You don't have to, but we also walk them through the business model and why it works this way and how to effectively get more clients, how to do it on a low.
That's kind of what I was going to say. If Barbell Logic is kind of feeding your coaches all that content, what feeds the
turnkey coach? Yeah, so we coach them and train them on the marketing side. One of the things that we've done, so we've got really two kind of types of coaches that license out our software. You have the up and coming coach who doesn't really have clients, and we're teaching them how to go get clients, how to market themselves, how to put out content. And then we also have our enterprise clients, which we've brought over from other software platforms because we're just so much better. And so, you treat them a little different because there are times when you sell one client, you get one coach, you get 6,500 clients. And then there are other times you sell one coach and they start with 0 or 1. And you're like, let's put a demo client in for you and teach you how to do this thing. And so that changes a little bit too. And so, yeah, certainly the ones that have the big names already, they're using it, but it doesn't feel like turnkey coach. It feels like, X brand, whatever their brand is.
So it's pretty white labeled.
Because it's white labeled. Yeah. So it's their colors, their branding, all that stuff. So it feels like their app. It doesn't feel like Barbell Logic's app or Turnkey Coach app. And then for the up and coming coaches, like that's where our academy director really holds their hand and teaches them how to do this system. You've got a lot of guys that come in, they're accountants and they hate their job. And we're like, don't quit your accounting job yet. Let's just, you got 18 months of working 2 shifts right now. Shift 1 is the accounting job, pay the bills at home. Shift 2 is the online coaching job. Don't spend $1 of that. Put that in, because if you're making 80 grand as the accountant and you slowly build up the online coaching business to 60 or 70 or $80,000, like now you're making 160 and now you got to quit one and cut your income in half. Don't, right? So just let's learn how to do this. And then the day will come when you'll make enough income from the second job from the one you love to leave the first one. And that's the go point. And then it puts us where the rubber meets the road. It puts some pressure on you. Like, okay, now if the other one doesn't work, we starve, we lose the house.
Yeah. We all know that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got the balls to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll say this, I hear you speaking and talking about this. There's one key word here that keeps coming to my mind. And you said it, about the differentiation of the category is professional.
Yeah.
Everything sounds professional. Yeah. It just sounds like a pro, you're becoming, whether you're training other coaches, whether the coaches on your platform, your team, it just sounds like a professional organization.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, that means it's come through well. When I think of personal trainer, the average personal trainer, I do not think professional.
No, I don't either.
Right.
I hate that. And I have friends in the business that are and treat it that professionally. For sure. If we're talking about it as a whole.
And that's the category design piece, right? We are trying to change not just what we do to own the category, right? You've talked about this before. Like it's 70% of category design. It's 30% of branding, right? Because if we own the category, then the brand is going to do just fine. So what does it mean to own the category? Well, for me, it means that the world recognizes the standard of this category. And right now, the world still thinks that online coaching is, I'm going to buy a $50 program. Like that's not online coaching. You're just getting duped, right? Like we're not doing that. And so, and really that's you're selling content. If you're selling you're selling a cookie cutter template, but then what happens when the person gets sick? What happens when their kid threw up all night long the last 2 nights and they can't work out? Like, well, they have a template. So now they're behind. So now what do I do? Or what if they go on vacation for a week and they can't train and they come back and they can't hit the weights they're supposed to hit because they haven't trained for a week? Well, that's why templates don't work. And so that's why for us that professional, personalized online coaching is key. And it's about changing the perception of the world out there, and probably first with fitness professionals, and then let that filter down to the client, to the B2C side.
Yeah. The space is crowded, the online coaching.
Sure.
And you guys have carved out this niche and, the pro.
Yep.
I always wonder, I get asked, like, some of these genies, are they going back in the ball? Like we're well removed from COVID and all that stuff.
Sure.
But it feels like the adoption curve of this thing, we're still like we're going up to the top of the curve. We're not even near it. It feels that way to me because, I think in a way we're getting older boomers, like the aging of America.
Yep.
But that demographic is also getting more comfortable online.
Yep.
And so you've got a couple of these things going, and I think the adoption rate is going to continue as the experiences get better.
For sure.
it feels that way. I would assume being in the business, you're high on that industry as a whole.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and the thing that I don't want, as AI comes out, I mean, we've leveraged AI since the day it came out. We can start to use it because to automate and delegate and trim the fat. So places that we can get that, great. We love AI, but AI can't replace the relationship, right? Relationship is the key. Yeah. So if you've spent the last 10 or 20 years of your life as a coach selling programs, you're dead. Like, you're not literally dead, but your business is dead, right? Yeah. Because it's getting replaced. And so for us, like, we're going to leverage that AI everywhere we can, and that's not going anywhere. Now, do I think there's a day when AI will be able to actually replace the technique coaching portion of what we do? I do. Yeah. Dude, I don't want to be the steel industry of the 70s. It's like, it's going to come back. It ain't coming back. Yeah. Like, when it goes, it goes. Yeah. But what cannot be replaced.
Those DVDs aren't coming back, Blockbuster.
That's right. That's right. You know? And so, but what cannot be replaced and what will never be replaced is a relationship. Now, are you going to have certain people that develop not real relationships with some AI something? Like, sure. But that's not the demographic that we're after, right? We're talking about people who are choosing voluntary hardship. And that often requires a coach to lead you to do. And so we can automate everything we can. That will drive the price down for the client. We can continue to make it more efficient for the coach. That drives their dollar per hour up. And so you get a massive value proposition on both ends of the spectrum, which is rare. And it's, Charlie Munger would love it if he were still here. So God rest his soul.
I know. Hey, you brought up voluntary hardship. It's interesting. The fitness business kind of goes right at it. I've always seen the parallels of working out and life and business. Like, just choosing to go to the gym, to go work out at any level is choosing something that's not easy. It's
and choosing something that no one else will make you do.
Exactly. You have to do it for yourself. I mean, you can't. No one is going to like lift you up and throw. I mean,
right. Unless you're in the Marines or something, and then or you're playing Division I football, and then your strength coach or your football coach is going to make you do it. But nobody's going to make you put a heavy bar on your back and squat, and it sucks, dude. That sucks. As a matter of fact, so you're right, and I'm not a coach that makes fun of people. If you've been sedentary and watching Netflix all day, or for years, and your first thing you do is walk around the neighborhood with your husband or wife, like, get it. Awesome. Like, that's a great first step. I think we can do even better, but like, I'm never going to make fun of that person. If you don't know what you're doing and you go to a big purple big box gym and you do basic machine work and you don't actually lift the barbells, like, okay, like a lot of that's ignorance, and that's why we put out the content, right? But ultimately, when you really dig deep and you do hard things, and for us, strength, we've seen strength is the foundation of all human movement. It's the way we interact with the world. It's not the be all end all. It's not the most important thing in the world. It's not the only voluntary hardship thing in the world, right? There's a lot of things that are voluntarily hard, but squatting, deadlifting, lifting basic barbells, like that's voluntarily hard for everyone. And I believe that we're refined by voluntary hardship every single time. And I don't think that's the same with involuntary hardship. And we know this, right? Because guys go to prison and they don't usually get out better. Right. No. Or, and sometimes you'll see those stories of sometimes people get cancer and they either die or they get cancer and it like just makes them jaded the rest of their life. But we've also seen the stories of people getting cancer, beating it, and they're much more mentally tough. Right. And so involuntary hardship is not guaranteed to refine. Voluntary hardship is. We all know we're going to experience involuntary hardship in our life. It's going to kick us in the nuts at some point, right? Like, somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to die. There's going to be a tragedy. Somebody's going to get divorced, like whatever. And the more you expose yourself to hard things, the better prepared you are when life forces you to be exposed to a hard thing. And that's why we push voluntary hardship. That's why we do hard things. That's why we don't send our clients into the gym to just screw around on the, on the weight stack machines and there's nothing wrong with that. We still do some of that, but it's secondary. Yeah. Right. And so the hard stuff comes first.
Well, we've been conditioned, and you and I talked about this pre-episode a little bit, but everything in life is becoming more convenient.
Yep.
The Amazon effect in a way. Yep. You can have everything immediately. Everything's at the touch of a button. Yeah. Instacart, it's Insta everything. And it's great that we've had these technological.
I love it. And I use it all the time.
And our kids, have had things that are at their fingertips that we didn't have. And I'm grateful for that. But in a way, though, it doesn't prepare us for the involuntary shit that happens.
For sure.
And it most certainly doesn't really condition us to want to choose discomfort.
That's right.
And, I don't sit here on some perch and go, I choose discomfort all the time. I like to be uncomfortable. But I do sit on here and force myself to work out and while also having a show that we have, I sense issue with the nation in what we're building without having to go through some of the struggle.
Yep.
And it just feels like we're not preparing the younger generations for the realities of life and business and everything else.
Right, because you can't escape that, right?
Yeah,
and so
you can't. It's going to get you
at
some point.
That's right.
And so if you've conditioned everyone to convenience and getting what you want when you want it,
right,
which are great things, it pushes them that much further from choosing discomfort.
That's exactly right. And so I would make an argument and say, I don't think there's ever been a time in history where it's more important to do things like go to the gym. I mean, look, most of our grandpas and great grandpas, they were farmers and they were mechanics and they were blue collar guys and they worked hard all day and they had calloused hands and all that. And that's not the average guy now, right? No. Or the average lady. I mean, my wife, she's here. She's beautiful. It's feminine as it gets. She's super strong. I mean, she's gotten super strong. She's deadlifted over 400 pounds. I mean, she's strong and in her mid 40s. And so, she models it for our girls. I think voluntary hardship is great for everybody. I want to be clear, not to skew it so masculine. And again, we've got a ton of amazing female coaches and lifters. But the reality is that most of us sit at a computer all day. I sit at a computer all day. I'm a CEO of a tech company sitting at a computer all day.
I'm there a lot.
So I have to choose because I'm not out in the fields, because I'm not cutting hay and baling hay, because I pay people to mow my lawn. I mean, I literally don't do any of that stuff. Then the thing I have to choose that's physically hard. And I was telling you, I get up early every morning. I work my butt off. I'm a hard worker, but I still think we have to get into that realm of physical voluntary hardship to drive that thing that's going to expose us to. So, I know there's been a lot of stuff lately, on cold plunges and stuff. I've got a cold plunge. I love it. Do I think it actually does anything? I don't know. I don't care. It makes me feel good. Here's the thing. You know what it actually does? It's voluntary hardship.
It is.
I get in it. The first time I get in it, I'm out in 10 seconds. And then you keep going, and then you ramp up the temperature a little bit. You're like, 39 is crazy. Let's go 49 instead. And then you get in it for 30 seconds. And then the next day you get in it for a minute. And then I keep hitting the Apple Watch. And then I'm like, okay, a minute and a half. And then you get to the point where you can go 3 minutes. And then you start dropping the temperature down. Well, it's because you're being exposed to hard things. And so your body gets used to getting exposed to the hard thing and becomes adapted to the hard thing so you can handle more hard. That's why we do voluntary hardship.
Yeah. And fitness is it. I mean, even my diet can be a little off. I do things, but if I'm not in the gym 5 or 6 days a week or a gym-like object, it might be my yard doing push-ups and my treadmill, but I don't know. And do I want to do it? No, not really. No. But it makes me feel good.
Yeah. I'm always happy that I did it after I did it.
Yeah.
I always feel better afterwards. Dude, I never want to train, but I train. And then I'm like, I'm really glad I trained.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to get in the cold plunge. I don't want to get in the sauna. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't want to break down videos sometimes as a coach. I still love to coach, but I get up every morning, 4 a.m. I'm like, what would be more fun is turn on Netflix right now. But you just do the thing. And so that's what it's about.
It is. So push the hardship, baby.
That's right.
But I will say this. Urgency is an interesting word for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
does it touch a nerve?
It touches a nerve. It's really strange. We just talked about this. We've got these convenience and we're comfortable. We do all that. But it does seem like everything's urgent.
Yeah.
Because I think we're in a hurry to get to the non-discomfort or the happiness or whatever. So it's rush. We're rushing. I'm urgently, I got to look, the addiction of the phone. Everything urgent tasks.
Yep.
I know you're writing a book. Yep. It comes out. It might be written completely.
We're about 85% done with the book. That's actually why I'm here meeting with Forbes and Charleston. They're publishing the book. So I'm excited.
Talk about it. Talk about urgency.
Yeah. So the book is called Undoing Urgency. It's about reclaiming your time for the things that matter most. We all have, time, we've kind of alluded to this already, like time is extremely finite. I talked about Munger, ask Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. Ask him right now how much of his wealth he would give away if he could go back to being 30. All of it.
Every bit of it.
All of it. So the problem is that we're all drowning in urgency. So when someone came up and asked your dad 20 years ago, like, how's it going? Our dads would say, good. But now when we say, how's it going? We say, busy. Every time. Because we're drowning in urgency. And what happens is the urgent pushes out the important stuff. And so what the book is really about is identifying what is really important to you, what your core values are. I mean, for me, it's faith, and it's family, and it's my community, and it's my fitness, my health. Those are really the four big things, right? And certainly my business which is my part of my community. I'm so close to those guys. But if we drown in the urgent, we never get to the important. And here's the thing: the most important stuff, like family, is never urgent. And so the urgent pushes out the important. And so what you have to do is you have to figure out the things that are not urgent and not important, you got to just purge them from your life, man. This is the doom scrolling and the binge watching Netflix and the porn and that's got to get rid of it. And then you take the stuff that's urgent and not important, and you got to delegate or automate it. And then you got to take the stuff that's urgent and important, and you better figure out how to do it really efficiently so that you can focus on the stuff that's the most important thing. Because ultimately what we're trying to do, I look forward at like the legacy that I want to leave, the jacked, wise old grandpa surrounded by my great grandkids, and I want to work towards that goal. What I don't want to do is think back and think like I wasted my kids' childhood, and then my grandbabies I didn't get to enjoy, which I don't have any yet and don't want any anytime soon. But I did that because I was so focused on the urgent that I lost sight of the important. And so that's really what the book is about. And it's really a game plan. It's a roadmap on how to get there and how we do that in fitness, business, and life. And we've got, it starts 30,000 foot view and core values and works all the way down into the trenches and gives lots of examples of exactly how we actually do that in our life, in the life of the business, and so on and so forth. So,
hearing you say that, it made me think of something. I think urgency favors the unfocused.
Sure.
And I think I was distilling what you were saying. Yeah. And I'm like, everything's urgent if you're not focused and if you're not organized.
Chaos.
It's chaos. It is.
It's chaos. It derails.
But it's also, we're in this world, the badge of honor. I'm busy, man.
Rise and grind.
Busy. Yeah. It's a badge. Yeah. And I'm guilty as shit of it. Sure. I'll say that. And I almost cringe when I say it. Well, you have to, I'm busy. And I am. Yep. But I'm going to change that. I'm going to start saying I'm happy or something. I don't know. How are you doing? I'm happy.
Well, and I think this is part of it too. And one of the conversations we had pre-show is about, dude, I love my life. Not that I live a perfect life. I've made all sorts of mistakes over the years, but the reality is that you start to realize is that the work is the goal. It's not the outcome. Like I'm building this business to sell the business. That's been the goal. Like we're going to sell the business in several years, right?
Yeah.
And does happiness come then? Happiness comes now, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. So the goal, the work, if you do the work right and you focus on the important, you get it all.
Yeah. So well put, Matt. It's like, I hear it. I hate these cliche sayings sometimes, but I'm going to use one like, the journey is everything.
Right.
But it is.
It is.
It's like, and I get this from younger people that follow me and, what's it take to be successful? Like, because they all think of it as a destination.
Yep.
Like when I got $1 million in my bank account,
right,
where I could buy anything I want, I've reached success or whatever that is. And don't get me wrong. It's nice to have financial comfort.
Sure.
But it's not like the destination.
No.
It's your happiness comes from doing what you love to do.
That's right.
That isn't always easy.
That's right.
And you take satisfaction from the journey and the process of getting there.
That's exactly right. It's the happiness, the joy. I won't even. Happiness
joy is a good
fleeting.
Word.
Happiness is fleeting, right?
Joy is right.
Joy is in the process, not in the outcome. And so that's what we do. You've got to enjoy the process. If you're drowning in urgency, you can't. That's the goal. Enjoy the process.
It took me a long time to like. I heard that 15 years, like you'd hear it.
Bro, I have this mastered now. No, it's a total joke. I still I'm preaching to the choir writing this book.
I'm like, dude, literally, it took me a long time. Like you can't quite, I don't know if it's maturity, us guys mature later than girls. I don't know. I've matured when I was like 37, I think.
I didn't even hit puberty till 17, for real. Yeah. It was a rough couple years of high school.
Yeah, I bet. But I don't know that guy, people say when did you grow up? Well, I was probably 36.
Yeah.
I don't know, like an immaturity of understanding certain concepts in life, because I was kind of always on that never ending hamster wheel, chasing things.
The thing.
Yep. Oh, I'm going to get there. I'm urgently going to get there.
Yep.
And then then you go, you don't get there.
No.
You got to enjoy it and be focused on what matters and what matters to you.
Yep.
And I don't know.
And that can be different from person to person. So what matters to me and what are the most important things to me may not be for you. The book is still incredibly applicable. The book actually walks you through how to identify what your core values are and how to work towards those goals. Like, yes, I'll give my examples, but then I'm really clear about you're not trying to be me, you're trying to be you. And so, enjoy the process, man, not the outcome. That's the deal.
So we're not looking for destinations, but what will make you happy 10 years from now? What will you be doing?
if I could live the life I choose 10 years ago, changing it from happy, because look, if 10 years from now my wife gets cancer, I'm not going to be happy, but can I still find joy? Like, I think I can, knock on wood. Like, I don't, and so, man, I hope to have been able to, I've gone through all of these things in business. I've now raised capital. I've been in hard lawsuits. I've started a board. I know how to run a board of directors. I've been a CEO, all that kind of stuff. The only thing I really haven't done, big thing in business, is be acquired and sell. I would like to be able to do that at some point. And then I would like to take that and give back to young entrepreneurs that are learning how to do this. I wish someone would have taken me along. And I definitely am, if you listen to this, I definitely have mentors. And even my younger brother has been more successful than me, earlier than me. So my younger brother is a bit of a mentor, but I would love to do that and give back. Like, I can tell you this, I'm not going to be a CEO or an operator in another business, because I've been able to say, like, okay, I did it. I succeeded or failed, and I learned lessons from it. And now I want to teach others there. I mean, that's where it would be. And in 10 years, hopefully I'm surrounded by 3 or 4 grandbabies and you know what, Sunday lunches and Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's the goal.
Yeah. Girl dad, right?
Girl daughters. Yeah. And they know
I have 4 boys. So it's like, I wouldn't even know what that world's like.
I wish we had more, but we did ingrain in our 2 daughters, like, you got to give me like 6 to 8 grandbabies at least. So we need lots of grandbabies. But yeah, man, that's what 10 years looks like for me, I think. And man, honestly, it's, I hope I get to look back over the next 10 years from now and look back and said, I really enjoyed the 10 years leading up, right? It's not about, there is this idea in my head of who I want to be when I'm 85, but it's not about being who you want to be when you're 85. It's what you do the 60 years before that. It's the consistency every day of doing the thing, of pouring into your kids and your family and your community and your business, and like giving them that wisdom and giving yourself that wisdom and learning those lessons and, changing and correcting course. I hope I do that and do that well. And so I wrote the book really for me first, because I need it. And I've struggled with it. I've learned from those lessons. And I think, my staff would tell you that I've come a long way there. And so I think there are lessons to be learned there for everybody.
When's the book come out?
Should be between Thanksgiving and Christmas, holidays this year. So a lot of that is how backed up the printer is. So the book's basically done. So once it ships off to printer, it's like, does it take them a month to get it printed or 4 months to get it printed? So
you'll have that on all your sites. Undoing
for sure.
Urgency.
Yes, sir.
Matt, where can everybody keep up with you?
Yeah.
Barbell Logic, everything else you got going on?
Thanks, man. If you want to start the process of voluntary hardship, Barbell Logic is a great place to start. So we're Barbell Logic, barbelllogic.com, online. On all the social media platforms. My personal website's ryanmattreynolds.com. I go by Matt. There is another Ryan Reynolds. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's got pretty good SEO. Yeah. And Matt Reynolds is an infielder for the Cincinnati Reds. And we're pretty much tied, but I don't want to fight with that guy. So Forbes is like, it's got to be Ryan Matt Reynolds. So ryanmattreynolds.com, personal site. Or if you're a coach or a listener and you're interested in that, turnkey.coach. You can go in any of those places. And of course, they are all they link back to each other and stuff. And so, yeah, man, we love it. And I always tell people, I'm not trying to make a hard sell. Watch the content, listen to the content, learn some stuff, and do that for a while. And then if you want to coach and you get stuck, like, we're a great place to go.
Really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, man. It's been a huge honor, for real.
Yeah, coming in. Really appreciate it. Hey, guys, you know where to find us. RyanIsRight.com. We'll have links to everything here. We'll go back and add the link to his book once it's available online. We'll also drop some highlight clips later in the year from this episode where you can get Matt's book. He's a real motivator. I like him. He's here. He's Barbell Logic. You know where to find me, at Ryan Alford, on all the platforms. We'll see you next time on Right About Now.
This has been Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. Visit RyanIsRight.com for full audio and video versions of the show, or to inquire about sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.